Why don't we get to it, Ricky Flex, and then we will roll. Sound good?
Yes, sir.
Let's check the audiences up. Delroy Lindo has been cast in Blade alongside Mahershala Ali. Also, Kevin Feige has announced a top secret Marvel Studios project associated with Scarlett Johansson set to produce, but not star. Feige says that secret project will have nothing to do with Black Widow. Interessante. Next up, we might be getting sequels to Red Notice. If in fact we do, Red Notice 2 and 3 would be filmed back to back. Do we want it? Next up, Jonah Hill has been cast as Jerry Garcia in an untitled biopic about the Grateful Dead for Apple TV with guess who? Martin Scorsese set to direct. Give it to us. Next, Michael Keaton reveals he's shooting scenes as Vulture in a mystery Marvel project this week. He said, quote, I'm shooting tomorrow, ... some Vulture stuff, end quote. Next, Randall Park has been cast in a Netflix comedy series that takes place inside the last blockbuster video in America. For some reason, this casting is perfect. Next, as filming on Spider-Man No Way Home was underway, it was revealed the script was rewritten on an almost daily basis. Tom Holland said, quote, you could ask the director what happens in Act 3, and his response would be, I'm still trying to figure it out, says Holland. Speaking of Tom Holland said he isn't sure what he wants to do next in terms of his career. He says, quote, maybe it's time for me to move on from Spider-Man. Maybe that's what's best for Spider-Man is that they do a Miles Morales film. If I'm playing Spider-Man after I'm 30, I've done something wrong. Wow, powerful words, end quote. Next, Miramax plans to sue Quentin Tarantino over his plans to release 7 NFTs based on Pulp Fiction, including scenes from an early script that were cut from the final film. NFTs, they're huge right now. Next, Barry Keoghan is rumored to be playing the Joker in the Batman. It was seemingly confirmed, it's still rumored at this point, by his brother, Mr. Keoghan himself. Next up, Ridley Scott, Speak of the Devil, reveals a 10-episode Blade Runner series is in the works. Okay. Next up, the head writer, Marion Dare, behind Marvel's Disney Plus series Echo, a spin-off of Hawkeye, may have confirmed appearances from both Daredevil and Kingpin on her Instagram story. That's going to do it with some juicy checkup stories this week. Ricky Flex, where do you want to start, dude?
I don't know. I think that I know one place I want to start. It might not be the biggest news, but it could be in like a month or two. Barry Keoghan being the Joker.
Let's talk.
That I think is monstrous news, even though it might not be confirmed. It's just a rumor, so it's probably not the biggest news that's on the slate on the checkup. But that's the one where it's like, wow, we're having a Joker again, and it's one of the hottest actors in Hollywood right now. Young actors, I should say. This is something, Dr. O. This, dare I say again, massive news, potentially.
I would say this is much more appealing than having Joaquin come back as Joker. I think this is more appealing. And that's saying that we know Barry Keoghan's an up-and-comer. He's not on the level of Joaquin yet, but we talk about the age difference. We're talking about Pattinson, early 30s. Keoghan, right, mid-20s. I like this matchup, Ricky Flex. Some people say, like, who's the best young actor in Hollywood? A lot of people would say Timothée Chalamet. Some people say Tom Holland. Guess what? Give me Barry Keoghan. Give me Barry Keoghan all day, especially after his appearance, his like scene-stealing performance in Eternals. I love him in Killing of a Sacred Deer. He owns that movie. Every time he shows up, Green Knight, every time he shows up in a movie, he owns it and he just takes control. And that's the kind of role Joker is, where he's going to absolutely command. You need an actor that's going to command the screen and steal it from Batman, right? Although I've already said Pattinson, put him on Oscar watch for the Batman. I don't care when it releases. I don't care when the Oscars are. You know what I think. So I'm hyped about it. Give me some more of that. I pray to God it's true. What are your thoughts, Flex?
I do. I want to just go back to the Joaquin comments. I think we on this podcast, like, we love IP, obviously, with all the comic book talk. We're talking about the Batman, for God's sakes, and that's the one that drew my headlines here. But I love how we're just keeping the Joaquin one separate. And I personally would like them just to not do anything else with it. Let's give Robert Pattinson his own Batman. Let's not try to get the Joaquin Phoenix Joker somehow into the Robert Pattinson Batman universe and just make things confusing with age differences and whatnot, and just make make stories like make it just confusing for us, to be honest. Let's just create something new. And I think just getting another young actor in Hollywood that's on the rise next to Pattinson as his biggest adversary, I think is a brilliant idea. Something that they haven't done really for the most part. Like Christian Bale and Heath Ledger, sure, they're both on the come up, but like same time, like Christian Bale already had his like Christian Bale is Batman, and Heath Ledger obviously Brokeback Mountain, but we just never really got to see we obviously never got to see post Joker for Heath Ledger. But on the come up, like he had Brokeback Mountain and a couple other big time roles, kind of similar to Barry Keoghan here. So I would literally like to see like, all right, how can we utilize this rather than having Joaquin come in after Oscar performance to try to do another Joker performance? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Don't force it. Don't force it. It was already great as a one-off. Okay. Honestly, as we said before, how many times have we seen an Oscar winner return to a role? How many times have we seen someone return for a sequel? It's very rare. And I'm so excited to see Barry Keoghan in this role. I pray to God it's true. I kind of was suspecting it because he was playing Stanley Merkel. That's who he's initially being cast as, or that's what it was suspected, right? Or that was what it was titled at the time. Who is police commissioner, well, not at the time, Lieutenant Gordon's sidekick, right? His partner. And so I thought, like, my initial reaction when I heard Barry Keoghan was going to be in this is that he's going to actually be the star of the Gotham City Police Department series that's going to be on HBO Max. And they were going to dive into, will he be corrupt? Will he be corrupted by people around him? Will he be more lenient towards a Commissioner Gordon? I mean, this is so much better. And I'm against those people who say, like, I don't like to have Joker fatigue. Like, don't want to see this character. Man, like, do you not want to see Batman? Do you not want to see Batman? Like, they go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. And you might be getting Batman fatigue, but you're going to tell me after seeing that trailer for the Batman, you don't think they can do something crazy with the Joker in this world? You're out of your mind if you don't think so. And you got to wonder what they're going to do in terms of appearance for the movie, how similar it will be to previous iterations. You know, it's going to be nothing like, let's say, a Jared Leto, okay, where it's like over stylized, like I guess that I can't really see that happening in this gritty underworld that Matt Reeves has created. But will it be like similar to Heath Ledger, and what kind of similarities are we going to see and what kind of differences?
I know we're talking about this for a long time, but it's big news. But I think that there's so many like different aspects. You got Falcone, Penguin, Catwoman, Riddler, maybe the Court of Owls. Like, you got a lot of things going on in this Batman movie. Like, throw in the Joker. I don't want him to be like a side character like he was in like the Suicide Squad. I know I'm not trying to compare the movies. I'm just comparing the screen time for Joker. Joker has to be his like the main villain. So I think maybe they just hint at him, maybe, or maybe like post-credit scene or the very last scene, similar to like where a Batman Begins, where Gordon, when he's detective pre-commissioner, gives the card to Batman and says, like, we have this guy calling himself Joker, Robin Banks. Maybe they do the same thing here, and then sequel, just make it Pattinson, Joker, Kagan's Joker, and just go at it for the sequel. Maybe so just hints at it in this one, and then next movie, full-blown Batman versus Joker.
Yeah, maybe Joker is behind the scenes of this entire operation that the Riddler's pulling off. You never really know. You know, there's gonna be a connection to the underworld with Penguin obviously being involved in Selena Kyle, Catwoman. So it's like it's not out of the realm of possibility that he does show up in this movie, and he's not going to have a massive role. Like, he's not the villain, but is he the guy in the background pulling the strings? Certainly a possibility. Ricky Flex, let's also talk about Ridley Scott in terms of a different manner here. There's going to be a 10-episode Blade Runner series that's coming. Is this something you want to see? Would you rather see a sequel to Blade Runner 2049, maybe some type of prequel in between that time and the original Blade Runner? Are you on board with this idea? And I guess what's your excitement level for a series?
So I guess I don't know. I really don't know. So obviously Blade Runner 1982, and then you got the next Blade Runner 2017 with Ryan Gosling, and Denis Villeneuve did like 3 shorts of like the time period between like the Harrison Ford Blade Runner, that ending, to the beginning of Blade Runner 2017's Blade Runner. And the shorts like kind of describe what happened. Like there's a huge, like basically like a nuclear bomb or a set off that happened. And there's a bunch of other things that happened. So I personally would have liked to seen like, all right, let's just do that series, because there's a lot of interesting things. Like,
that'd be
Google
cool.
it. Like, please go Google if you don't know what I'm talking about. it would make Blade Runner 2017 make a lot more sense, particularly with the Jared Leto character as well, and how the world has changed. It makes the movie so much more enjoyable. So definitely go see that if you haven't, and then rewatch 2017's Blade Runner 2049. But I don't know if that's not sounding like that's the case here. And if it's not, then I want it to be something completely different, like as in obviously still about a Blade Runner and like kind of like a cop detective story, but do not give me Ryan Gosling. Don't give me Harrison Ford. Give me something completely new and original.
I mean, I think Jared Leto was so good in Blade Runner 2049 in his limited screen time. I wouldn't mind seeing him in a 10-episode series, honestly. But it's kind of interesting that we see Ridley Scott doing these like pickups of his former movies in terms of like sequential projects. So we just heard his next movie is going to be Gladiator 2. Like maybe something we don't find necessary. Now we're getting a Blade Runner series after we just got this amazing sequel made by one of the greatest like filmmakers going today with Denis Villeneuve. It's like he's reclaiming like, hey, I'm the reason this stuff was good. I'm the reason everybody loves Blade Runner. I'm the reason everyone loves Gladiator and these type of movies. It's like he's almost like trying to stay relevant as he gets older and older and time is passing him by. So I just find that a little bit like curious. I find it interesting that he's like trying to be like have all these projects, put them all together. We know he's doing a Napoleon movie with Joaquin. It's like he doesn't want to feel obsolete.
I agree. I think he's kind of balancing it though with the, like you just mentioned, the kit bag, the Napoleon movie, and also Jodie Comer's in that as well. And he's doing this House of Gucci, Last Duel, so like original work, like obviously off of things that happen in real life, but original work, not like IP or anything such as a Gladiator 2 or literally this or a Prometheus. So definitely like still original, but going off of IP, but he's combining that with own creative separate works that are like the start of potential new IP. So I don't mind it. I just think that a 10-episode Blade Runner series with all this other work that he's doing, he has a lot on his plate. So who do I want to help him in this 10-episode series? Denis.
You have no choice.
I think they need a collab here. Maybe just him in a producer role, even executive produce, maybe get some, I don't know, but I think his name needs to be attached in it. Because you were talking about relevancies. Ridley Scott's 80 years old. Denis, but I think 2049 is an amazing piece of work and honoring the Blade Runner franchise. I think that they need to collab and at least combine both types of audiences in both their primes. Denis in his prime now, Ridley Scott formerly in his prime, both together.
I would like to hear Ridley Scott's thoughts on Blade Runner 2049. I'm sure he's made plenty of comments about it and how he actually views it. Does he think of it as a masterpiece like many audiences do, like years after its release now? Or does he prefer his own version? He probably obviously prefers his own version of the movie. It'd be interesting to see like if they got along because they probably have their own vision now at this point for that franchise. And we know a collaboration, it kind of would be possible because like Denis, he's focused on Dune and everything right now. But if he doesn't have to put all his concentrated effort into like this Blade Runner series, maybe he's just executive producing with like Ridley Scott running the show. Who says no to that? Who says no to that? How could he say no to that? Right? Because like he was the one who brought relevancy back to Blade Runner. And it's talked about more now than it did when it was actually coming out. I'm talking about 2049 in that regard. So, and like those two collaborating, that'd be like the greatest collab since like Jay-Z and Kanye and Watch the Throne. Yeah, that'd be incredible.
Also this would be on HBO Max, right? So like that would be something too.
Right?
Yeah, Warner Bros. Like that would be something too.
That would be something. Ricky Flex, we also got to talk about Scorsese. Scorsese's making a movie. We talk about it. That's just like movie podcasting 101 for anyone who wants to start a movie podcast. So, music biopic, Jerry Garcia, Grateful Dead, Jonah Hill, spot on casting in my opinion. What are your thoughts on this upcoming project? And are you even more excited for this than Killers of the Flower Moon?
That's a hard no there. Don't get too, do not say that. Any Leo movie.
You don't know the rest of the castings. Leo could be in it. Who knows? The next one.
Oh, Grateful Dead.
Yeah, could be in it.
Oh, okay. Well, at this time, there's no chance I'm more excited for this than Killers of the Flower Moon. But I'm not a huge Grateful Dead fan, so I think that should play a role as well. If you're a big Grateful Dead fan, then God, this is it's about time. Honestly, it's about time. It's been so long. they've been around forever. Like Grateful Dead is one of the hallmarks of American music. It's insane. So I think Scorsese doing this is interesting in the first place. Jonah Hill, he does look like Jerry Garcia a little bit. I think that's like you said, perfect casting. And in Scorsese movies, what are some like the most memorable scenes in Scorsese movies? The drug scenes.
Chaotic, out of control drugs.
Particularly Wolf of Wall Street and Donnie Azoff.
Yep.
So what do you think of Grateful Dead? You obviously think of drugs. And there are so many crazy stories with the Grateful Dead and them doing drugs or just somehow being impacted by drugs. So Jonah Hill and Scorsese doing that, I think, is a perfect combination for this movie.
I like that he's the lead too. He's Jerry Garcia.
Yeah, he's the lead.
And he's been like in all these great projects as a supporting role, whether it be Moneyball, where he's nominated for the Oscar, Wolf of Wall Street, where he's nominated for the Oscar. He's then diverted to producing movies just like mid-90s, right? Directing. And then he was in, directing. Was it directing or producing?
In mid-90s, he directed it.
Okay, and then like obviously his production, and then also starring in Maniac alongside Emma Stone. Give him this chance to actually take the lead in a Scorsese movie.
Love it.
And I think Grateful Dead, there was so much chaos around this band. I can't wait to see the concert scenes. I can see Scorsese. He loves his flair, going all out with what's going on in the crowd, interaction with Jonah Hill as Jerry Garcia. Okay. I mean, I don't know if Jonah Hill has any pipes or anything like that. It might not matter as much, but it'd be cool if he was just all of a sudden an amazing singer too. Like him ripping Touch of Grey.
I can definitely envision, if I had to put a bet right now on if will Jonah Hill get nominated for an Oscar, I would say I would put a heavy wager on it at this moment, just by the casting and the combination with Scorsese. Will he win one? I don't know. We'll see how they do with like you said, with can he sing? But hey, Rami Malek won and he didn't even sing. So we'll see. We'll see what we do. And also, this is a Scorsese movie, so it's going to be better than Bohemian Rhapsody no matter what. But I love this, and I love it for Jonah Hill especially. This guy's only 37 years old. We just feel like he's been around. He's been around forever, and he's only 37. He's never been nominated for 2 Oscars, potentially another one here in the lead. He's going to get an Oscar sooner or later, maybe for this one.
Huge for Apple TV as well. Apple TV feels like every time they release a movie, it's just everyone like lets out a fart noise, like no one cares, like right after. It's just, it feels like now that Scorsese has got 2 projects coming to Apple TV that are well-known performers. And then we also got to mention the fact Scorsese is one of the best movie documentary filmmakers of all time. Movies like The Last Waltz, like obviously, and like a band, like The Band, literally, that is similar to a Grateful Dead in a lot of ways, right?
Very similar.
So it feels like this is right up his alley. If he was going to foray into the music biopic game, this is it. And Ricky Flicks, I wrote a blog this past weekend. I worked really hard on it, and I spent a long time on it. I'm like, I crafted a list of 10 artists I want to see have a music biopic made about them. This is the music biopic day and age. We just got the Elvis teaser, right, from Baz Luhrmann starring Austin Butler. Ricky Flex, my question is, what music biopic that isn't in development or hasn't been made yet do you want to see?
I think the blog's great. You mentioned a bunch of names that I would have, such as like a Kurt Cobain. I think that's a must. But I really like something that has already been done, but has to be redone again, will have to be the Biggie and Tupac drama.
Big time.
Has to be. And I think if they do a separate one for each one, okay, or one to combine. But after like obviously the NWA biopic with Dr. Dre, Eazy-E and the boys, Ice Cube, like that was such a huge success. And that like didn't even like hover on the surface of the East Coast versus West Coast. If they could somehow get that together and have an actually good biopic movie for that, I think that should be like the number one thing. But they've already tried it, so maybe something new. Kurt Cobain, easy answer for me.
And like my idea in the blog, I think it would be unreal if they had it. It's like him reflecting upon his life. He was obviously a tortured soul. You could tell by the songs he wrote, right? Shout out Succession, episode 3. Like, holy crap, what a scene that was. Yikes. But like Cobain, like I think if they had it centered around him reflecting on his life, but also centered around like his MTV Unplugged live set, I think that would be cool, where it keeps coming back to it. He plays a different song, shows a different moment of his life. That would be unreal. And I even did like a fan casting. Someone who's hot in the streets right now. Imagine like Harry Styles playing Kurt Cobain.
Be big.
Like he's already a Marvel hero at this point, right? He's going to be in Don't Worry, Darling. This would be a star-making turn where he literally has the movie playing an iconic character. This is what makes great actors great actors. This would be his chance.
Yeah, and like we don't have to go through every single one that you put in the blog, but like Stevie Nicks, Fleetwood Mac would be something that'd be crazy. Tom Petty, someone that recently died, so maybe a little too early still, but that could be another one. Like there's so many endless, and you could like throw in, like you mentioned, a Harry Styles, and you could throw in other like musicians that are going into the acting fray or have been for a while, like maybe a Jared Leto. Like I'm not saying a particular role, but there's so many options now, and more actors and actresses are going into musicians are going into the acting game and actually doing well, like actually having success. Lady Gaga this weekend. So definitely interesting to see the more music biopics coming out and who will be playing in these roles.
Right. And I like just one more I want to throw out. Just one more. Frank Sinatra would be unreal. Like Frank Sinatra, his ties to the mob, ties to New York City, right? And also like the possibility of having someone like Leo play Frank Sinatra. I think that's the role that Leo would not pass up given the right director. I think that that would be a home run if Leo attacked this character.
I think like going back to the millennial talk though, they would need like a Leo to star in it or like a big name to get millennials to go to see Frank Sinatra movie.
Yeah. He does have his relevance. I think he's stuck around enough with parents, grandparents, holiday music where he still has that relevance. You know what I mean? And then obviously his connections to Marilyn Monroe and all this stuff. So it's like I could see people like still finding him relevant, even more so than a character like Jerry Garcia, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right. That does it for the checkup this week. Unless you wanted to talk about Delroy Lindo, Ricky Flex.
Just amazing casting. Is he going to be a villain? Is he going to be like a mentor or like a supportive character for Mahershala Ali's Blade? I don't know. All I know is that Mahershala Ali and Delroy Lindo on the same screen together, that duo is incredible. The definition of dynamic duo. Like I cannot wait to see that.
Me too. I had to slip that in. I know you're a huge fan of Mahershala Ali and this whole Blade project. Delroy Lindo after a solid performance in The Harder They Fall, and then a star-making turn at the ripe age of 50 in The Five Bloods with Spike Lee.
Yeah, my prediction would be similar to what he was in Malcolm X, where he started out as like a mentor type, but then turns villain. Is my prediction.
Interesting. I could see that too. Almost like a Jared Harris and Morbius. What's like that's turning out to be.
Yeah,
potentially.
I'm not potentially.
So I just want to so that's gonna do it for the checkup this week.